This is violence. But you won't see it on the news, because the weapon isn't guns, it's policy. The victims aren't soldiers, they're hungry children. And the crime scene, it's a farm. While you watch this, food that could feed your family for months is being burned, not by accident, by deliberate choice. This is the business of starvation, and without knowing it, you're paying for it. Every time you buy bread, a system you never voted for makes this decision. Every time you drink milk, you're supporting warehouses that rot grain while stomachs grow empty. For the next few minutes, I'll show you the receipts, the subsidy payments for destruction, the warehouse reports of intentional waste, the economic models that value profit over people. But first, answer this honestly. If you controlled the food supply, would you feed hungry children or burn food so someone else stays rich? Cut to blurred document. Food destruction subsidy. Approved global agriculture chose profit. Now let me show you how. In a world with enough food to feed every person twice over, 9 million people die of hunger every year. In a system obsessed with efficiency, 30% of all food produced is wasted. That's 1.3 billion tons, worth $1 trillion, enough to end world hunger 4 times over. The numbers scream insanity. Until you understand, this isn't failure. This is success. This isn't waste. This is strategy. The system isn't designed to feed people. It's designed to maintain prices. And sometimes maintaining prices means destroying food. Sometimes it means letting people starve. The math is cold. The logic is brutal. The result is on your plate. Let's start in 1980s Europe. The European Union had what they called a wine problem. French, Italian, and Spanish vineyards were producing too much, more than Europeans could drink, more than the world wanted to buy. Prices were collapsing. Vineyards faced bankruptcy. So the EU created what they politely called wine lakes. Not lakes of water, lakes of wine. Giant storage facilities filled with millions of liters of cheap wine. And here was the solution: destruction. The EU paid vineyards to uproot their grapes, paid wineries to pour wine into sewers, paid farmers to destroy their livelihoods. This wasn't emergency, this was policy. The common agricultural policy had one rule: keep prices high, even if it meant destroying what you grew, even if it meant paying people not to produce. This was the birth of modern agricultural destruction, not as failure, as policy. And this is where the modern food system learned something dangerous. Destruction can be profitable. Now to America. 2020. COVID lockdowns, restaurants closed, schools shut, milk demand dropped 30% overnight. Dairy farmers faced an impossible choice: keep milking cows and flood the market, crashing prices to zero, or dump the milk. They dumped 3.7 million gallons per day, flowing down drains, into pits, onto fields, while food banks had lines stretching miles, while parents skipped meals to feed children. The milk flowed. The USDA called it supply management. Farmers called it heartbreaking. Economists called it rational. The math was simple: destroy supply to maintain price. Let the milk rot rather than let prices drop. Protect the system, not the people. This wasn't Wisconsin's first dairy dump. It won't be the last, because the system rewards destruction, punishes generosity. Now to India. 2023. Government warehouses, 60 million tons of wheat and rice, enough to feed every hungry Indian for a year. But the Food Corporation of India reports 15% is rotting, insect-fested ratatin, moisture ruined. Why not distribute it? The law is clear. Government grain must be sold at market prices to licensed traders, not given to the hungry, not donated to food banks, sold at market rates to middlemen, who then sell it at higher prices. Officials call this a legal necessity. Critics call it moral failure. The system prefers rotting grain to cheap grain. Why? Because cheap grain destroys market prices. Rotting grain maintains them. So guards stand watch. Grain rots. Children starve. The market wins. The Food Corporation calls this buffer stock management. Hungry families call it cruelty. Economists call it price stabilization. Everyone uses different words for the same result. Food destroyed. People hungry. System intact. This isn't incompetence. Incompetence can be fixed. This is design. Brazil, world's largest coffee producer. 2021, global coffee prices dropped. Too much supply from Brazil, Vietnam, Colombia. The solution: turn coffee into fuel. Burn coffee beans in power plants. Convert caffeine into electricity. 2 million bags of coffee gone, up in smoke. While coffee drinkers paid more while growers went bankrupt, while children in coffee-growing regions went hungry. The math was elegant. Burning coffee reduces supply. Reduced supply increases prices. Increased prices help surviving farmers. The burned coffee, collateral damage. The hungry families, statistical noise. The system worked perfectly for prices, not for people. Brazil called this value-added conversion. The world called it progress. The burned beans called it waste. Let me show you the invisible hand. Food isn't like other products. It's perishable, seasonal, bulky, expensive to store. When you have a surplus of apples, you have 3 options. Option 1, flood the market. Prices crash. You go bankrupt. Option 2, give them away. Prices still crash. You still go bankrupt. Option 3, destroy them. Prices stay stable. You get subsidies. You survive. Which would you choose? Every rational farmer chooses option 3. Every rational government supports option 3. This isn't evil, it's economics. When the system rewards destruction, destruction happens. When the system punishes generosity, generosity dies. The problem isn't the farmers making rational choices. The problem is the system making destruction rational. Here's where it gets darker. Governments don't just allow this destruction, they pay for it. The EU pays farmers to uproot vineyards. The USDA pays dairy farmers to dump milk. Brazil pays coffee growers to burn beans. These are called market stabilization payments, supply management subsidies, price support programs. The language is bureaucratic. The reality is simple. We pay people to destroy food. We tax citizens to fund destruction. We call this agriculture policy. Imagine this in any other industry: paying car companies to crush new cars, paying clothing brands to burn unsold inventory, paying tech companies to smash unsold phones. We'd call it insanity. In food, we call it policy, because food isn't a product, it's a necessity. And necessities follow different rules. Crueler rules. You're thinking, why not donate? The answer will change how you see charity. Donating food is expensive. Transport costs, packaging costs, distribution costs, refrigeration costs, liability costs. If someone gets sick from donated food, lawsuits follow. Insurance premiums rise. But here's the real reason. Donated food stays limited. Market competition. Donated food enters the market. It competes with sold food. A tomato given to a food bank is a tomato not bought at Walmart. A gallon of milk given to a soup kitchen is a gallon not sold at a supermarket. The system protects retailers, not the hungry. So we make donation difficult. We add regulations. We require certifications. We create liability, not to protect people, to protect prices. The result: it's often cheaper to destroy food than to donate it, more profitable to burn it than to give it away. The system prefers waste to charity, because charity threatens prices. Waste protects them. Statistics don't feel hunger. People do. Meet Maria, Brazilian coffee farmer. 3rd generation. She grew the beans that became electricity. She watched her harvest burn. She received subsidy payments. She cried, not because she lost income, because she grew food that became energy while her neighbor's children went hungry. She asked the cooperative, "Can't we give it to the hungry?" They told her it would crash prices. She understood. She hated it. She complied. Meet Dev, Indian warehouse guard. He guards rotting grain. He smells the decay every day. He sees hungry families outside the gates. He follows orders. Let it rot. Don't distribute. Protect the stock. He asks his supervisor, why? The answer: if we give it away, traders won't buy next season. The system needs scarcity. His conscience needs morality. The system wins. Dev loses sleep. The grain keeps rotting. This is the moment where most of us would look away, because if we don't, we have to ask what kind of system we're supporting. And if this wasn't disturbing enough, here's the ultimate irony. Food waste is the world's 3rd largest carbon emitter. If it were a country. If food waste were a country, it would pollute more than Germany. Rotting food produces methane, 25 times more potent than CO2. Burning food produces CO2. Transporting wasted food produces emissions. Packaging wasted food produces plastic pollution. We're burning fossil fuels to grow food, then burning food, then burning more fuels to deal with waste. While people starve, while the planet heats, the system isn't just immoral, it's suicidal. We're literally burning our future to protect today's prices. We're accelerating climate change to maintain agricultural profits. The math is apocalyptic. 8% of global greenhouse emissions come from food waste. 9 million people die from hunger yearly. We're killing the planet to protect a system that kills people. This isn't economics. This is madness with spreadsheets. They'll tell you it's a logistics problem. Too much food in the wrong places, not enough storage, poor transportation. And that's partly true, but it's not the whole truth, because logistics follow money. Where there's profit, logistics appear. Where there's charity, logistics fail. Amazon delivers packages to remote villages. Drug cartels transport products across borders, but we can't transport grain to hungry neighborhoods. The truth, we choose not to, because solving logistics would solve hunger. Solving hunger would collapse prices. Collapsing prices would break the system, so we pretend it's impossible. We blame poor infrastructure. We cite spoilage rates. We hide behind technical challenges. The real challenge isn't technical, it's economic. It's not that we can't move food, it's that we won't, because moving food to the hungry hurts profits. And in our system, profits come first. Solutions exist, but they fail. Perfect logistics, too expensive. Better storage doesn't solve oversupply. Food banks can't handle scale. Government programs corrupted by lobbyists. Corporate responsibility, voluntary and minimal. The real solution: change the economic model. Stop rewarding destruction. Start rewarding distribution. Tax food waste. Subsidize food donation. Reform agricultural subsidies. But that requires defeating the most powerful lobby on earth: agriculture corporations. The same corporations that profit from this cycle. The same corporations that write farm bills. The same corporations that fund political campaigns. The system protects itself, even from solutions. Even when those solutions would feed millions. Even when those solutions would save the planet. The system chooses itself. Every time. The system is powerful, but it's not permanent. Systems only survive as long as people believe they're natural. So we return to the question: warehouse full of grain, village full of hungry children. What do we do? The current system says, burn the grain, protect prices, let the children find other grain, or starve. Your morality says, feed the children, even if prices drop, even if farmers suffer short term, even if the system changes. The battle isn't between efficiency and waste. It's between market logic and human need. And right now, market logic is winning. With every burned bean, with every dumped gallon, with every rotted ton, with every hungry child. This isn't a food problem. This is a values problem. We value prices over people, profit over nutrition, short-term gains over long-term survival. Next week, we'll show the fight back. Communities feeding neighbors despite the system. Farmers choosing morality over money. Countries rewriting the rules. But first, we had to show you the problem. The deliberate, calculated, profitable destruction of food in a hungry world. If this made you uncomfortable, share it. Discomfort is where change starts. Subscribe if you want to see solutions. Because the fire in the fields isn't just burning crops, it's burning our humanity, and only we can put it out. Remember the fire you heard at the start. That fire is still burning. The only question is whether we keep feeding it.